Thank you, Presiding Officer, and I thank the Cabinet Secretary for advance sight of her statement. We welcome the publication of guidance on consequences and on risk. Indeed, these are things we and others have been calling for many years. But I have to say to the Cabinet Secretary, this is not enough. Change is urgent, yet there's been 3 academic years since research showed rising concern on behaviour. In that time, Scotland's incredible young people have achieved against the odds, and school staff have risen to the challenges as they always do. But the reality is, they've done this without the widespread change of direction needed from their government. What the statement fails to address today is rising staff workload, a demoralised workforce, and young people who are failed by a lack of support for ASN and next to no access to ADHD assessments, CAMHS care or support for additional needs. It fails to address the systemic change needed. So can I ask the Cabinet Secretary, what changes will the Government make to workforce planning to meet the ongoing challenges? What additional new action will the Cabinet Secretary take to address the lack of support for pupils with ASN? And finally and crucially, why has it taken 3 academic years to get a statement with no new actions and that fails to rise to the systemic challenges facing schools?
Cabinet Secretary.
I thank Ms Duncan Glancy for welcoming the guidance, and I'd like to put on the record, Presiding Officer, what I think is an unfair characterisation of the Government's actions since the publication of the BISR research. So I just want to recount some of the actions that we've taken since the publication of that research. Of course, one of the issues that BISR highlighted was the role of school inspections in gathering data on this. And of course, now every school inspection and the Chief Inspector is taking direct action to ensure that we have enhanced evidence on relationships and behaviour from every school inspection. That was a change I announced in November 2023. We also provided funding to support staff and, for example, those working with some of our challenging behaviour, for example, directly in our schools. That was a direct response to findings from the BISR research, again announced in 2023. We also provided support to improve attendance, including guidance on professional learning, networking and exemplification. Today I'm giving a statement on consequences and risk assessments that relates to the National Action Plan, which I launched last year. So I think it's an unfair characterisation to suggest there has not been action taken in the interim period. Again, Presiding Officer, in that period there has been the publication of the Gender-Based Violence in Schools framework, which has been really important in relation to challenging issues around about misogyny, a toxic issue at the current time in our schools and of course in our political discourse too. And again, the interim guidance on racism and racist incidents and the mobile phone guidance last year. So I don't accept that today's examples that I provided in relation to risk assessments and in terms of consequences sit in a silo. They are part of a package of responses from this government and funding that have